Thank you for sending these videos. I've watched through your swing, and obviously there's some things we can really help you with for sure. There's some pretty simple things to change, and then there's some complex things. But rest assured, when we go through your lessons piece by piece, you're going to have one or two things to work on at a time. When I go through this video, there's going to be a lot of stuff I kind of talk about, and there's even some things I can't really see that well, especially from the down the line view, because from that view I can't really see your entire body because it's kind of cut off. I see a lot more from this perspective, but I can't really see the club face because it's kind of blurry. However, I can see a lot of things that we can talk about. So don't get too overwhelmed by the things I talk about in these particular videos, simply because when we break down your swing in lessons, it's going to be piece by piece, not everything all together, okay? But we're going to start with your setup here. From a face-on perspective, there's a lot of good things here. Number one, you have a nice base width here. You're about shoulder width apart, which is what we'd want to see with most of your irons. Your wedges may be just a little bit more narrow. Your driver, obviously, and your longer clubs a little bit wider. The one thing I would change about your base is I would suggest turning this lead foot out a little bit more. You're going to do that in your golf swing anyway, but you do that in a result of pressure. So pressure and torque. When you have that pressure and torque in your swing on your lead leg, that means that pressure and torque is working through your joints, mainly your knee. That knee is taking a lot of stress. So to avoid injury in the future and hopefully not have a knee replacement or anything like that, we want to open that foot up a little bit more to take the pressure and stress off of that knee. So it just kind of lets that knee float as you open your hips without putting too much pressure on it, okay? So that's the first thing I would suggest, is opening that foot up just a little bit. The second thing that we're going to talk about here is your tilt. Now, you actually have pretty good tilt here. Now, on this app, I unfortunately don't have the ability to measure lines really well, but if I was to measure a line here, and see, it's not going to let me do it properly. Anyway, I won't do that. But anyway, we can see your tilt here. So if I draw your tilt, I'm going to guess that's probably about 6 degrees of tilt. That is actually pretty good. We like 4 to 6 degrees of tilt in your setup. However, the tilt you're creating is causing you to put more weight, or at least it looks like more weight, onto the trail foot. We actually want more weight on the lead foot. So what we're going to do is we're going to create what we call a solid lead side, meaning that from your ankle to your shoulder, we want all of your joints on that front side to kind of match up with that line. We want your ankle, your knee, your hip, and your shoulder kind of all on that line. When we do that, we're going to have this trail side kind of come in just a little bit, and it's going to bring this hip in a little bit as well, and it's going to create kind of this reverse K shape on your trail side. That's going to allow you to maintain some tilt here, but it's going to get your pressure a little bit more forward. So you have about 55 to 60% of a weight on the lead foot rather than more weight on the trail foot. And you'll still be able to maintain this tilt that you have in your setup, because tilt is really good, okay? All right. Now, I will go into your swing here. Most of the swing stuff's going to be covered from the down the line perspective, but I do want to talk a little bit about your pivot. Your weight shift, if I was to draw a line kind of on your front hip here, and this is kind of hard to do on this app, but on your front hip here, we will see that you kind of sway off of that lead post. Now, we want to stay up on that lead post. Now, getting more pressure on that lead foot will help to start with, but we want to stay on that lead post. Now, we do want to shift our weight into our trail side, but we want to shift our weight more with our turn. We kind of want to turn our chest over top of our lower body on the right side, so kind of turn our chest over top of our right thigh rather than swaying off of that lead post, okay? When we sway off of that lead post, it makes it much more difficult to shift our weight forward. You'll see here that you really don't create much of a weight shift. You kind of recenter and get back to the lead post, but never really get past it. That's going to make it really difficult to hit down through the golf ball, create compression. It's going to make you sacrifice speed and distance and all those things that we want to have in our golf game. So obviously, creating a better weight shift will help that. So to do that, we've got to stay on that lead post so we have room to move forward. Now, the other thing that is really important to discuss here is what this does to your actual takeaway at the top. When we sway, we're going to have a tendency to not turn enough, okay? We need to turn our shoulders and our hips a little bit more. You've probably only turned your hips here, and of course I don't have the ability to measure them on this app, but I would say your hips have probably turned about 15, 20 degrees, and your shoulders only about 45 to 50 maybe. We want to get your hips to turn at least 35 to 40 and get your shoulders as close to 90 as possible. Now, when we get rid of some of the sway, you'll have a tendency to turn more. When we turn more, we'll also create better depth. We will see that from the down the line perspective, you don't have much depth with your hands. That depth is also why your club path is likely negative. Of course, I haven't seen your club path, but I'm going to guess your club path is probably 5 or 6 to the left from the outside in rather than from the inside. And it might even be more than that, but I'm guessing 5 or 6. We want to get this club path to a positive number, or from the inside out, so we can get you hitting, little draws, so we can take advantage of the distance that comes with the draw. So we want to get our hands deeper at the top. And to do that, we have to turn more. So we got to work on this pivot to get you to stay on that lead post, turn a little more, get the hands deeper. And that'll allow you to obviously get more forward, hit more down through the golf ball, compress it more, get the club more on the inside so you can hit draws, and also create more distance, okay? The last thing I want to talk about is this flip with the club kind of at the bottom. You can see how your arms kind of break down and you're flipping the club and you're kind of using your hands to turn the club face over. Now, obviously our hands are going to be active in our golf swing, but we want to use our hands more to create speed rather than have to control the club face. This is telling me that your club face is open and you're having to use your hands to square it. That means it's also going to be very inconsistent. When we have to use our hands a lot to control the club face, then we're obviously going to have an inconsistent club face. We want to be able to use our body's rotation to square the club face, and we'll talk more about that from the down the line perspective. That's the next video I'm going to do here, okay?